Good evening and welcome to the City of Somerville Zoning Board of Appeals meeting of Wednesday, September the 18th, 2024. It is 6:01 and pursuant to the Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, this meeting of the Somerville Zoning Board of Appeals will be conducted via remote participation. A recording of these proceedings can be accessed at any time using the registration link at the top of this agenda. Joining us tonight are board members, our Vice Chair Ann Brockelman, Ann Fullerton, who will be clerking this evening, Brian Cook, and Cecia Daglian, and I am your chair, Ursula Susan Fontano. Also joining us tonight, we have some of our staff people out there to help us. Andrew Grominski, Steve Carey, and Sarah White. So without further ado, Ann Brockelman, did you have your hand up? Yes, please.
Yes, Madam Chair. I am recusing myself from the case 52 Elm Street and 8 Montrose Court, which happen to be the first two. So I will drop off and come back in after those cases.
Okay, we'll notify you when we're ready to go on. Thank you, Ann, for that. So right now, for the next two cases, we do have 4 members, which is a quorum. And I'd like for, let's see, the first case tonight is 52 Elm Street. That's ZP 24000053. You folks here out here tonight?
Chair Fontano.
Yes, sir.
The applicant has requested a withdrawal without prejudice. They have provided the proper documentation to staff yesterday. The board needs to take a vote to accept that withdrawal without prejudice. The applicant is not present. They don't need to be present for that vote. I just want to make the board aware if that's the case for this property, this address.
Okay, thank you. If that is okay with the standing board now, anybody have any objections to that before we go to the clerk? No? So Ann Fullerton, Madam Clerk, tonight, would you please make a motion for that withdrawal?
Yeah, one quick question to staff. Do I need to reopen the case, or since it's continued, it's already open?
It's already open.
The case is open.
Okay, great, thank you. Madam Clerk, I make a motion to approve the withdrawal without prejudice for 52 Elm Street, case number ZP 24-000053.
Thank you. May I have a second on the motion, please, from the board?
Second.
Seconded by Cecia Daglian. All in favor? As we go around, please say aye. Cecia Daglian?
Aye.
Brian Cook?
Aye.
Ann Fullerton?
Aye.
And Ursula Susan Fontano, aye. And let the record show that Brian Cook and Cecia Daglian are in for Zach Zaremba, and I don't know, I don't say we say, but do we mention Ann Fullerton's name in this case, staff?
Brockelman.
I mean Brockelman, thank you.
It doesn't
Matter.
with the vote.
Thank you. I didn't
You're
think so.
welcome. Yep.
All right,
Oops.
super. Okay, next on the agenda is a new case to Ann Fullerton, 8 Montrose Court. Would you please open it?
Sure. Madam Clerk, I'd like to open 8 Montrose Court. And this case has 4 zoning numbers. Great, sorry. This case
No
has
worries.
3
Great.
hardship variance zoning numbers. So I'm going to read all of those into record. ZP 24-000075, VP 24-000082, and ZP 24-0083. Yes.
I just want to say for it to legally be open, the whole legal ad actually has to be written into the record. So each one needs to be presented, but they can be discussed at the same time. So
All
thank
right.
you for letting me interject, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
So Thought Forms Architects LLC seeks zoning relief from the secondary front setback requirement for a detached triple decker in the neighborhood residence district, which requires a hardship variance. This is ZP 24000075. ZP 24000082 is Thought Form Architects LLC seeks zoning relief from the lot width requirement for a detached triple decker in a neighborhood residence district, which requires a hardship variance. And then ZP 24000083 is Thoughtcraft Architects LLC, which seeks zoning relief from the building width requirement for a detached triple decker in the neighborhood residence district, which requires a hardship variance.
Thank you very much, Ann. Staff, are the applicants here and ready to go?
Yes, if you're an applicant, please use the raise hand feature and I will promote you to panelist. I'm seeing a Chris Jones and a David Bemis. I am promoting you right now. They're coming in, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening, Board.
Good
Madam
evening,
Chair.
Mr. Jones. Yeah, is it Johns or Jones?
Johns.
Johns, thank you. So tell us who you are and what you want to do.
Sure. My name is Chris Johns. I'm the founding partner of Thoughtcraft Architects, and I'm here with my client this evening, David Bemis. And David is the landowner of the property, and they seek to rebuild or redevelop the property with a triple decker. And it's quite a unique site condition, and I'm happy to walk through the three hardship variances and some graphics if that's helpful.
Yes,
Okay. All right. As was laid out in the legal descriptions of the variances, we're looking to seek a variance for the secondary front, a lot width, and building width, which those two are kind of symbiotic in their relationship. The property is on a Montrose Court, which is a private way off of Montrose Street that abuts the MBTA extension, Green Line extension, and the path. The property is the last parcel here at the dead end of this private way. And we currently have existing parking on the premises, and it's basically two-story structure and a shed in the rear. And noted in the staff report regarding the first variance is that the property and a retaining wall which supports some of the land is on a slope and sort of was impacted through some of the construction, which began to become the impetus to redeveloping this, because there were some structural concerns with this home related to the infrastructure along this edge. And so I can just show you a couple of quick photos of that. So here you can see from down on the pathway, there's a retaining wall that's kind of slumping down the hillside here a little bit. And then this is the end of the dead end of the private way. And so here's the property, here's the private way, and you can see the proximity to that edge and that slope. And so after a second pre-filing meeting, we learned that the community path was considered a thoroughfare. It had to have some ruling on that because it was not clear to us or to staff immediately. So thus creating the secondary frontage. So basically, we're in a narrow lot situation at 34 feet 9 inches. And we're trying to maintain the existing parking while building a new 3-family structure on the premises. Let's see here. The second related to lot width. So 36 feet is the required lot width. What we've seen is that along the community path here are a series of these abnormal lots that kind of run perpendicularly, run parallel to the path, but run perpendicular to the predominant organization of the properties. And so therefore they're kind of leftover, slightly unique shapes and widths. And so we're here. And because of that, we have a resultant 1'3", we're 1'3" short of the required lot width. So then that again pertains to or affects the building width as well. So when we look at the building width, the 24 feet is the required building width, but because of the lot width being smaller, the various setbacks and the driveway, we are at 22 feet 11 inches. So 1'1" short of the width. And I think our client is very concerned about making high quality living units and dwelling units. And so, I think we went through the exercise of proving out that, the slightly narrower building does not have any detriment to the dwelling unit itself in terms of its inhabitants and the quality of the homes. I think that's it in a nutshell.
Thank you.
Sure.
Does Mr. Bemis have anything you'd like to say before we go to the public?
No, I think I agree with everything Chris said. So again, it's just, it's a weird lot
Good.
because can you hear me okay? Sorry.
Sure.
Yes.
That's all right.
It's a little bit of a quirky situation because it's been deemed essentially a corner lot where the street is actually well above the bike path. So, and then with the parking, I think with us trying to retain the parking, essentially, we're just trying to not get rid of parking that's already there. I don't, one of the units is planned to be slightly larger, a 2-story unit that I think lends itself more to a larger group, possibly a family. And so I think there is value to retain the parking and not displace onto the street. But it works either way. But I do think there is some value to keeping the existing parking as opposed to eliminating.
All right.
But no,
Thank you very
Chris.
much.
That was very good. Of course, thank you.
Good. Mr. Liaison here for the Zoning Board of Appeals, Andrew, could you please open it up to the public, see if somebody's out there who'd like to say something?
Yes, of course, Madam Chair. Right now I see a Serene Wingchuk, sorry if I mispronounced your name, with their hand raised. I will allow them to speak.
Good evening.
Serene, you are muted on your end, but you should be able to speak.
You hear me now?
Yes, yes,
Okay. Yeah, I live in 39 Montrose Street
yeah,
in Somerville. Like almost like now, I bought the house like almost 20 or 25 years now, almost 30 years.
really, yeah.
And I just saw it. I got a letter from your office saying they're gonna build the three uh floor of apartment on my end of the my house. There's like eight Montreux Court,
Mm-hmm,
and I don't agree with that. I don't accept it, and I have a problem with the parking. If there's kind of like they're gonna build a three-family house, it's gonna be I have a big problem with my parking. I have a driveway on the bottom of my house, and the other thing is I have a problem with the trash day. If they're gonna put all the trash on my front of my house, and plus, like few years back, I got the trash kind of like what do you call it, ticket or something like that. Always I have a problem, and that's the thing, and I'm not accept with that kind of like by like a build the three family. It's kind of like my house is two family. It's kind of like it's gonna be block the all the my house view and everything, madam.
yeah,
And that's why I'm not accept with that kind of like things. And in my site, it's gonna be a big problem with my house, and it's gonna be parking problem. We have a parking problem all the time. Those things is happens, and I'm not as accept with that. Oh, build the
okay.
three
All right,
family
I
house.
understand. So the parking was your concern. Where they're gonna put their trash is your concern.
Yes.
Yeah, and now when you look out on the bike path, how is he your neighbor? Because you're not on the court, you're on the street.
Yes, I am on the street, 39 Montrose Street, and from like it's on the like it's on the what do you call it? It's on the driveway. Do you hear me, madam?
Yeah, but I didn't understand the last thing you said. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go. Sorry, I go again.
Mr.
I didn't hear.
Johns, can you show us give us a map of what it looks like where he's referring to?
Yes, I was trying to figure it out myself. Let's see here.
Hold on there, sir.
Yes, madam.
He's right here.
Where is he? Right there. And where are you? Right in front. And that
Yeah.
house is there already now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
his is one. How much higher is yours going to be to his? His looks pretty high.
Yeah, my
It's-
house is right there. It's high.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they're gonna build a three family house, it's gonna be my house gonna be blocked. View.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you answer the question, Mr. Johns, regarding the trash? What's your plan for trash? Where your receptacle is going to be and when you put it out?
The receptacles will be kept in the side yard, opposite the neighbor. And they would assumingly just be put out on the street like they would any other time. I don't think trash is going to be a concern. It's we're not talking about 16 units here or something like that. These would be
When was the
residential
last time?
bins.
When was the last time this house was occupied? Do you know?
It's currently occupied.
Currently. Are you having problem with the people that are in this house now or just other neighbors in general? Serene?
Yes, I'm not. Yeah, no, I have no problem with my right now. My neighbor, it's no problem. But it's happened
Oh.
before. Yeah, it happens before, like few years back.
Yeah.
I
All
got.
right. Well,
I got the
you know-
ticket from. I got the ticket from city.
Yeah. I got
And-
one 2 months ago from a side street, so I don't know how, those things happen and we straighten it out. So the
Yeah.
trash is okay. The parking, they want to keep the 2-car parking. It's a 3-family. And now, how far are you, how far is this from a TOD zone?
You,
Staff, can you answer that?
are you asking me,
I'm trying,
madam?
no, I'm
It's-
asking staff.
Oh, okay.
It's
Sorry.
within
Thank you for your input. Thank you so much. And
It's
Mr.
within-
Gravinsky,
it's within a half mile.
that's what I thought. Okay, good. All right, so the parking is more than likely somebody's gonna be parking, living there that might be using the bike path or the T-stop. All right. Okay,
May I-
who's
I think-
next?
This is Andrew speaking.
Thank
Next,
you,
I
Andrew.
have a Crystal Huff allowing you to speak.
Ms. Huff,
Hi, my name is Crystal Huff. I live in Ward 5. I am not a neighbor of this property, and I know that back and forth questions are often not welcome in these meetings, but I did want to ask if the developer had considered accessibility requirements or concerns with regard to the plans for this property. Thank you.
Mr. Johns,
Well, by right, as a 3-family, we're not required to.
Uh.
I think that certainly provisions could be made if there was a buyer or renter who wanted or needed accessible access. But at this time, there is none.
okay, thank you. Next, please.
This is Andrew speaking. Next, we have a Meredith Porter allowing you to speak.
Good evening, Mr. Porter.
Good morning, good evening. Meredith Porter, 104 Josephine Ave. Just wanted to say that, as you know, the burden for a hardship variance is pretty high. They're asking for 3 hardship variances here. One that seems significant to me particularly is the lot width and the request for a driveway here with a 34-foot 9-inch width and a 36-foot lot width required. But even the third criterion for the hardship variance, I know that you were very stringent with that in the consideration of 52 Elm Street. So I'd like to see some consistency in the decisions. Thanks.
Thank you.
This is Andrew speaking. Next, we have Lynn Wiles allowing you to speak.
Mr. Gravinsky, do you have the timer, please?
Yes, I'm going to ask Steve Carey to assist. So if the applicant can get rid of their screen so we can have it, that would be greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
Let's get a sec for Steve to get that up, and then we'll allow Lynn to speak.
Okay. The next, yep, I'm waiting. Beautiful.
All right, I am allowing Lynn Wiles to speak.
Thank you, Ms. Wiles. Good evening. Ms. Wiles, Lynn
Lynn,
Wiles.
you're muted on your end.
Hi, I live right across from 8 Montrose Court on 9 Montrose Court.
Yes,
I'll say I'm not looking forward to more construction after all the Green Line construction. But I
Mhm.
guess one of my concerns is twofold. It was originally supposed to be a 2-family, but now it's a 3-family. Again, it will block a view, but I'm also wondering if the architects can talk about whether it's going to try to fit into the neighborhood or just be another box condo.
Mr. Johns, do you want to
That's a
speak to the style of the building?
We have not completed full design in terms of style of the building. I will speak to the 2-family versus 3-family. 3-family was recently allowed in the neighborhood residential zone. That was one of the reasons we shifted to the 3-family. The height of the 2-family would have been similar to the 3-family. And I will say that our client, who's also a builder, does exceptional quality and workmanship. I believe this is not going to be one of the sort of typical boxy, cheaply built 3-families or structures that you might see in and around Somerville or other towns and cities. So I think the quality will be elevated, and I think people in the neighborhood I would imagine, would feel prideful that this project would exist in their neighborhood.
Thank you. Next, please.
Chair Fontano, I see Meredith Porter is raising their hand again. They already spoke, but do you want me to allow them to speak?
Yes, quickly, Mr. Porter.
Okay, allowing Mr. Porter to speak.
Yes, very quickly, Meredith Porter, 104 Josephine Ave. Mr. Johns stated that 3 families were not allowed in neighborhood residential. That is incorrect. They have been allowed all along. The change that was made is that now 3 families are allowed without the provision of an affordable unit. Formerly, developers did not want to construct 3 families because they were required to provide an affordable unit. Now they can construct 3 families without an affordable unit, but they have been allowed all along. Thanks.
Thanks for that clarification. Next speaker, please.
Chair Fontano, I am not seeing anyone else with their hand raised.
Okay, great. I think I'll keep that open for a little bit longer till we have some more questions from the board. I'd like to open it up to the board. Who has a question that they have something for these gentlemen? Answer to maybe something that the public has mentioned. Yes, Ann Fullerton, hands up. Yes, Ann.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to note that I do have some questions, but David Bemis has also raised his hand, so he's had it up since the public was speaking and may want to address something.
Oh, okay. I didn't see it up. I'm sorry. I thought he was wiping his board off. As a matter of fact, your screen. That's what I thought you were doing. So, Mr. Bemis, go right ahead. You have something to say? Unmute yourself. Did
there
you
it
have
is.
something to say? Did you have your hand
Oh
up?
no, I was actually, Chris did a great job. No, I was meant to respond to a few of the comments, but I think did a fine job. I did just want to make sure that we were reiterating that 2 of the variances that we're seeking are directly related to trying to retain the on-site parking. So I did know there was some questions about displacement and adding more cars to the street. So I do want to make sure that those folks' concerns know that is part of what we're seeking, is to retain that on site. But no, Chris did a fantastic job. I was going to chip in there if he needed it, but so no, I'm good. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Ann, go on, please, Ann Fullerton.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. I have 2 questions for the team, for Mr. Johns and Mr. Bemis. First is, how wide is the bay that you're showing on the second and presumably 3rd floor? You show it as 3 foot deep on the plan that was submitted, but the architecturals that we were given are limited to just an upper floor plan, and it doesn't have the width of the bay on it.
I think it's 16 feet.
Okay, can you say that
let's see.
emphatically, yes or no? Because you're limited to 16 feet.
Let's see. I'm trying to find if we have that dimensioned clearly in our package or not. The intention is that it meets the zoning regulation.
Okay.
If it doesn't, it will.
Okay, understood. The second point is looking at the site plan, the proposed site plan. with the front porch, you're allowed 100% encroachment on the setback. With the rear porch, you're not. Anything that requires a footing or structure, that's really what your setback is limited to. And right now your setback is showing 12'6" to the building envelope, not to the footings that would be required for a rear deck.
So our understanding is that because we have two frontages, that we have two side setbacks that are 3 feet each. So we're proposing a 12-foot setback, 12'6" setback for the building, and that the deck off the back would be between the 12'6" and the required 3 feet.
Gotcha. And staff, can you confirm that this makes sense to you? Because I thought it was side and rear that was 0% encroachment. But they are within 3 feet.
This is Steve Carey in the planning division. I do know the ISD looked over this and they were confident in the relief that the applicant was seeking. I'm not with ISD, so I can't say definitively.
Okay, thank you. I think that answers my questions for the moment.
Okay, thanks, Ann. Anybody else have their hand up? DC, do you have any comments? Brian? I would just comment, when I went through this and about the parking came up, and I know we're trying to cut back on that, encourage people to use public transportation, or, the path's right there, the community path is there. But after, it's a tight little corner and spots are already there. And I know certain neighbors, like this gentleman, just the first call of this evening, came forward and said, so I kind of like the idea of keeping those two spots. Everybody's lived with them there already. And perhaps one or two of the new tenants coming in might be, going to be taking public transportation, or they're bikers or walkers, or, some younger people getting in there. So as far as the parking goes, I would behoove, of course, this is in any neighborhood anyway, but when you're in a corner like this in a small area, the people developing this spot, you try and give them as best quality, you try and be as efficient and get it done as quickly as possible, because it's money in your pocket too. But like she brought up about all the construction that was going on with the tea and stuff, it was long, and it was really hard for people on that run. So I would just, if you're coming in, I don't know if you've had other projects in Somerville, but after a while, it's nice that you build up a good name and reputation for yourself, keeping the property up while you're working on it, so that neighbors aren't having to look at ugly and trash, and it's just in disarray all the time. So if I'm sitting here on this board, that we hear these complaints all the time, and that's half of the battle, is getting along with your neighbors and starting fresh. So that's what a couple of them have said. So those are the two comments I have right now. You work with what you have. I understand that's what these hardship variances are sometimes. Sometimes you see people getting a little too roomy, too big. So those right now at this point, this juncture, that's what I have to say about this. Brian, Cece, you have any comments? Yes, Brian?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It is at least my impression that they're doing the job they need to do to be respectful of the space they have and this very short private way. I took a walk down there this afternoon before the meeting. There's no room there to do anything else. If you're going to ask them to scale back, I can't imagine it'd be an economical property to develop. And there is a bit of a rise on Montrose Court from Montrose down to the retaining wall. So there is going to still be visibility. And retaining the driveway, as you mentioned, Madam Chair, is in fact going to make status quo. There's no parking on Montrose Court except for the very end when there's a couple of spaces. So I don't find there to be anything worrisome about the request for the hardship variances here. I think it's always difficult to address the second condition, whether there's a financial or other kind of hardship involved. But I think they've addressed that in their submission, and I'm ready to vote.
Great, thank you very much. Cecia, any comment, or are you happy with what you're seeing?
I would support the requested relief. I think that given the unique site conditions next to the bike path at the end of a court, I think the requests are reasonable.
Great. All right, well, thank you very much. Okay, so, yes, Ann Fullerton's hands up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Quick question for the team about, you have part of an existing stone retaining wall for 41 Montrose on your property, which I assume will be disturbed when you're trying to put in a new foundation. How it's labeled as stone wall on the existing survey. Because that is retaining land for your neighbor, how are you planning to handle that?
Chris, I'm not even seeing that. Sorry, I don't know if you want to share. I'm
Sure,
trying to think of what that condition is.
Yeah, it's back by the shed, beyond the existing driveway. There's a stone wall. I mean, I think we'd probably just end up rebuilding it on the property line.
Have you reached out to that neighbor at all to just talk to them about the fact that that condition?
Does it definitely need to be disturbed, or is it? I'm trying to. Again,
apologies.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, I don't know the condition of it.
Yeah, and it's going to be a tight squeeze with the new foundation footprint.
Yeah, let me see if I can share this. There you go. So it's.
So I'm looking at this on the tiniest.
Here you go.
iPhone ever. Apologies.
It looks like it's retaining a couple of trees.
Referring to this, correct?
And then, Chris, is this the new footprint here? Again, sorry, I can only see part of this at a time because of the screen I'm looking at here.
No, this does not show the existing footprint. This is the survey. But it would not impact any of the new, like, if it's in decent shape and can be retained, it doesn't impact anything we're doing.
Okay, yeah. So I think we would, if it can be retained and there's no reason to disturb it, I'm always prefer to leave it undisturbed. If it is, if it is dilapidated or needs to come down, I apologize for not being particularly familiar with that little piece of wall, but we'll certainly coordinate a mutually acceptable replacement, especially if they're currently utilizing that space. I'm not sure what that fence condition looks like back there either. Again, my apologies for not being having that top of mind, but we certainly would coordinate with them if it was something that needed to be replaced or rebuilt in any way.
Okay, I appreciate that. Considering that neighbor is not here today and their property, is their perception of their property will be impacted.
Yeah, no, thank you for standing in for them on that point. I appreciate that.
I have a question for staff, Ian, through you and me. What's the story? Now she brought this up tonight. The neighbors aren't here. For us to go forward and be comfortable, how do we, can we condition that in any way, or? Steve, Andrew?
This is Steve Carey in the planning division. I guess I'd defer to my colleague Andrew. I don't know if there being a precedent for that, but it's certainly something that it's within the board's purview to add conditions. should they choose to. Andrew, I'm not sure if there's a precedent for that.
This is Andrew speaking. Through you, Madam Chair, I'm also not aware of a precedent. Ms. White, Senior Planner, may be familiar with a related condition in regards to communication and agreement with a buddy property. It's something that we can look into. Unfortunately, I don't have that answer tonight, but if you'd want us to circle back, of course, we can do that. Or we can work on some sort of language that we believe is legally defensible for a condition.
Right, because
after
normally,
meeting that's
yeah,
within the, sort of intent of the board.
right.
I would just also add that generally conditions on these variances should have a tangible, connection to the relief being granted. I'm not sure that this would necessarily, unless there is some way that retaining wall might affect the driveway that they're seeking. But I think that should be very, kept in mind, is that any conditions on these variances should be related directly to the relief being sought.
Sarah, can you help us with this at all? I know in the past we have, we've made conditions, we've had something. And if not, the people, like when I even looked at the, some of the demos he put up tonight, we had in our packet. When you look at the back, you see the house, you see a fence with the wall, and then there's another piece of property to the left of the picture I was looking at earlier, and it's like the fence is all broken up and the ground's all messed up. Whose property is that? Chris Johns or David Burmis, do you know this?
I
You
would
know what
have
I'm talking
to
about?
see that picture, which you want to share, Chris, and
It's a photograph, not like a photograph. Yes. Now see the third one from the left? There's a house, there's a fence. Is that your property now?
yes,
Okay. To the front of that broken fence and that no retainer wall, whose land is that?
that's actually the edge of the private way that terminates a private way. So I'm not sure.
Who owns
I
it?
don't think that really belongs to either property. I'm not sure exactly how the division of that works when it's a private way.
And whose car, who parks on there? Who uses that property?
The car to the right is the neighbor on the right, and then the van to the left is our current tenant. So they each park one car to their side of the private way there. And then the fence
So
on the back side, I'm not sure who maintains that fence, to be honest with you. I mean, we'd certainly be happy to stipulate replacing it but I'm
And is
not
that
sure
what
who
you're
historically
talking
has
about?
done it.
Ann Fullerton, do you understand what I'm interacting with
No.
what you asked?
No, I wasn't
Yours is
talking
where
about that.
now?
I wasn't
She's-
talking about that fence, but
Right,
So the fence we were just looking at on
Is-
screen was
yeah,
the end of the private way here where the two vehicles were parked.
beautiful.
The retaining wall
He's talking over there.
is at the corner of our lot with 41 Montrose. So the grade coming off of their property extends over to our property, is retained by this stone wall, and then there's about a 3-foot drop with a couple of trees here. And so, not knowing the condition of that, I think if it's stable and we can maintain that, then let's not change it and disturb
Right.
the trees. And so I think
Right.
that's the goal. Our parking does not impact this. This is a site, is
Okay.
just part of the yard
you.
for us.
Yeah,
So it's right here, and we're not doing anything with that.
okay. All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Yes, Ann?
Madam Chair, I think that negotiating, trying to protect and maintain that retaining wall that is retaining land for the neighbor's property, and or coming to an agreement with that neighbor about a revised retaining wall could be a condition of the second hardship request, which is
Criteria.
about, yes, which is about width. they're asking for relief on with, because I think that the way they may disturb it and find they can't maintain it is when they go to excavate, they're gonna be moving in a fairly small lot.
Right.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we would be fine with that being a condition, that it either remains undisturbed or is either rebuilt in kind or coordinated with the 41. I mean, I think we would just do that anyway, so it's not really adding much of an additional burden to us.
And the second part of my question is that in our purview? I mean, the person's not here, the tenant's not, the neighbors didn't come. And somebody referred to earlier, did you have neighborhood meetings?
Right.
No.
No, okay,
To Steve
No.
Carey in the planning division, a neighborhood meeting was not required.
not
in this case.
required. Good, okay, all right. So does this come into, should we be concerned about this? Brian?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I always learn from Member Fullerton's perspectives and questions. But, and I see what the argument she is making with regard to the retaining wall being possibly associated with the lot width relief. But it sounds like the applicant for the relief is already considering doing something, and imposing a condition, I think, then becomes a legal obligation gets recorded with the Middlesex Register of Deeds.
Yeah.
And I'm uncomfortable with doing that.
Me
Rather
too.
giving them the leeway to work it out without a legal condition would be my preference.
That's why I'm kind of being the devil's advocate a little bit. And that's what we're here for, to hash out all this stuff and talk about it. We all get different ideas. So I understand what Ann's saying. And I know with other things, when we're doing site plans and all this other stuff, sometimes we have a bunch of conditions of approval and jazz. But I didn't know how anything like this would apply. And I agree. I think without the people being here to represent themselves and to speak directly to the developer, the builder, that's for them to get a hold of each other and kind of work it out before there's an issue at this point. You think so, Ann? You know what I'm saying?
I hear
Yeah.
your comment and Member Cook's comment. I still don't see an issue including the condition, but I defer to the majority.
And then the other point too is we don't have to vote tonight. We can go back to our people and find out what the right thing, the correct thing, the legal thing is for us to do. Does Steve, do you have any comment on that, or Sarah White, or Andrew, any of you guys with your experience?
If you want to take a meeting to think it over, you're welcome to. I mean, it could also give the applicant time to reach out to that butter. But it sounds like, from the applicant, that whether or not there's a condition, the case will be that they would like to keep that retaining wall. And if they do have to disturb it, they would replace it. But I don't want to speak for the applicant. So it sounds like that course of action would be the same whether or not there was a condition.
Mr. Bemis?
Yeah, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you there. Yeah,
No.
I mean, again, I would be perfectly fine with it being a condition that required us to rebuild it with or not, disturb it or repair it if there is some. I mean, again, it doesn't add any additional hardship to us to have that in there. I could not be foreseeing some conflict there in tying it to the variance, but I'm having a hard time seeing where that would create problems later on.
Okay.
So.
Well, yes, Brian.
Madam Chair, to satisfy Ann Fullerton's concerns, I think let's go with the condition. The applicant has no concerns about it, as long as we word it appropriately. So a condition that says something to the effect that the applicant will establish communication with the relevant homeowner and seek to retain, or if necessary, rebuild the retaining wall in association with the approval of the lot width variance relief, then I would be fine with that.
And tell me something, just to elaborate just a tiny bit more. What about, we're talking about during the construction and everything, right? I mean, what if in 5 years from now there's an issue? You know what I mean, Ann?
Well, Madam Chair, there could be an issue with anybody's house in 5 years.
That's right. That's my point.
I don't think we're talking about
Immediately.
redevelopment of it.
Construction, right. That's what I'd like put in there. During the development, redevelopment of this spot. During the construction, or however. That's the only thing I'm talking about. Like you said, anything can happen a week, 6 months from now, but if it has nothing to do with this and another area, they're not responsible. All right?
Agreed.
Okay.
So can, Madam Chair, through you, can the board talk about condition number 2? So I have something for to feel comfortable that we've resolved number 2.
Yeah, that's what the lot with, I don't have the wording as it is already. Do you have it in front of you? Does anybody have it in front of them? Because I've got the screen on this and I have only one thing tonight. On number 2,
Are we talking about condition number 2 or
Yeah,
variance number
the
2?
criteria. Ann's looking for some wording for the criteria of number 2 when she puts it into the record.
So, Madam Chair, the language of criteria number 2 is literal
Yes.
enforcement of the provision of the ordinance for the district where the subject land or structure is located would involve substantial hardship, financial or otherwise, to the petitioner or appellant due to said special circumstances.
If I can clarify, I believe that the chair was referring to the second variance being requested, which is related to lot width. And
Right.
It's to that variance decision, we'd be hypothetically attaching a
The
condition.
condition.
Yeah.
So when we do 0000075, you have criteria 1, criteria 2, criteria 3. When we go to 0082, 1 will be the same as the first, 3 will be the same as the first, but the second one on that, because it's the width, and that's the condition, we're gonna add a little extra language in there. Am I saying the right thing, everybody? Staff?
Madam Chair, I understand, but I do need us to go through condition 2 for all of the hardship variances to confirm that we have agreement upon why it would be a hardship.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right. So on number 1, we've got it's the 0075, criteria number 1, it's the land, the shape, all that, you got that. We're going to number 2 now. What's 2? Hardship, finance. Does somebody have it in front of them? Cecia, are you looking at the criteria that's required? I don't have it in front of me. Because I'm with one screen tonight here.
Madam Chair, I can read it again. It is literal enforcement of the provision of this ordinance for the district where the subject land or structure is located would involve substantial hardship, financial or otherwise, to the petitioner or appellant due to said special circumstances.
How's that? How would you alter that? Brian?
Well, the question is, what is the hardship? If it's not financial, then it's something else. And the something else is to build to the quality to allow for the creation of 3 attractive units, where there are only 2 now,
Right.
in response to the existing lot conditions, the adjacent public thoroughfare, and to improve the quality of the neighborhood. Whether that's a hardship or not is always the thing that we struggle with. But I think the way to put it is it would be a hardship for the applicant to not provide an improved dwelling on the site that in fact adds to the housing stock beyond the
That's,
2
yeah,
units that are available. That is at least part of their argument.
yes.
And it retains the existing parking, so it does not burden the neighborhood with on-street parking.
Correct. And if I may just add, there's 1 unit currently on site. So we're going
so
from
it
1
adds
to
3.
3.
That jiving for you, Ann? Want some more raw language?
Yeah, I'm rereading the uh, petitioner's case response for number
Yeah.
2. And what I'm struggling with is, we're, per member Cook, we're basing the hardship on the community, not the petitioner. Like, the hardship to the community is that it wouldn't provide additional housing stock if we were to say that the hardship variance is invalid. So, but the way the language of number 2 is written is that needs to be hardship to the petitioner. So I'm trying to find the spot where it's hardship to the petitioner.
Well, the hardship is the loss of parking that's already provided. So that's a hardship to the owner of the property to provide that to the occupants of the units that will be provided, will be built. In fact, we'd be taking away something. If we enforced it and they weren't able to build to the lot width or needed to meet the lot width requirement and lose that, they would lose an important economic and practical component of value to the property.
So I buy that argument for the second 2 hardships. The first one is about maximum number of stories.
This is Steve Carey in the Planning Division. I don't believe any of the variances may request to relate to maximum number of stories.
Oh,
I
I'm
can
sorry. You're right, Steve. I'm looking at 52 Elm. You're
Oh,
right.
no
Thank
worries.
you. Thank
No
you for
worries.
jumping in on
That was a test quiz, Steve. She was making sure you're paying attention.
that. Okay. All right. So the hardship is to meet a buildable site, they would need to lose parking, which would be a hardship for the occupants of the site and for the extended community.
Very good. So you've got on this one here now,
I think
on
we
0,
have-
on the 75, you're all set for 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah, I think we're all set for all three of them with
Right.
the same hardship, the same three special conditions.
Criteria.
Criteria conditions. It's just, we're gonna add a condition to the second one.
Right, thank you. All right,
Thank you for everybody's patience.
yeah, no, and keep on trucking, and anybody can, staff, if we're not presenting it properly, please. We want to do it right, okay? So,
Madam-
now first, yes, Ann.
I think we need to go back to public.
Oh, thank you, thank you. All right, so, we left the public portion open. Mr. Graminski? I think we're ready to go.
This is Andrew speaking. Sorry about that. Through
Was
you,
there
Madam Chair.
anybody, with their
No.
hands up that we missed?
Not
after
seeing
Mr.
anyone at the moment.
Okay, we're gonna close the public portion. Board's been, communicating and deliberating and talking. So without further ado, I'm gonna ask for the clerk to please make a motion for the approval of the hardship variance on
Can I just
Montrose Court. Yes, somebody speaking,
chime in
Andrew,
too?
I'm
Through
sorry.
you, Madam Chair, just to confirm that 3 different motions will be made.
Yeah.
Okay.
With the 3 different
figured.
numbers,
Yep.
right? It's a repeat of everything, and like you're saying, except number 2, all right?
Yep.
Criteria 2, okay. Take your time, don't worry.
All right, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the hardship variance for 8 Montrose Court, ZP 24000075, which seeks zoning relief for the secondary front setback requirement
Yep.
based on the 3 criteria discussed regarding topography, loss of parking, and no substantial impact or degradation to the neighborhood.
Is that enough, in the motion? Mr. Graminski?
This is Andrew speaking. That sounds right to me.
Thank you. May I please have a second on the motion?
Second,
Seconded by Brian Cook. All in favor, say aye. Cece Daglian,
Aye.
Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
Brian Cook,
aye.
Ursula Susan Fontano, aye. Let the record show that in the matter of 000075, 8 Montrose Court, all in favor unanimous, 4 votes, and let the record show that Cece Daglian and Brian Cook were members tonight and voting in the affirmative. Thank you. Next, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to make a motion to approve case number ZP 24000082 for 8 Montrose Court is a hardship variance seeking zoning relief from the lot line width requirement based on criteria previously discussed regarding topography, no degradation to the neighborhood, and we will be conditioning the approval with per Member Cook's earlier statement regarding establishing communication with an abutting neighbor that shares retaining wall.
Great. May I please have a second on the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Cece Daglian. All in favor, voting in the affirmative, please say aye. Cece Daglian,
Aye.
Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
Brian Cook,
Aye.
and Susan Fontano, aye. Let the record show all members voting in the affirmative, including Cece Daglian and Brian Cook tonight. And the third,
Yes, Madam Chair.
yep,
I make a motion to approve case number ZP 24000083 for 8 Montrose Court, which is a hardship variance seeking zoning relief from the building with requirement based on criteria previously discussed regarding topography, loss of parking spaces, and no degradation to the neighborhood.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Seconded by Cece Daglian. All in favor, voting in the affirmative, please say aye. Oops. Wait a minute. Brian Cook,
Aye.
Cece Daglian,
Aye.
Ann Fullerton.
Aye.
And Ursula Souza Fontano, aye. Let the record show again. In the matter of 0000A3, all voted in the affirmative, unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, for your presentation tonight.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you being good neighbors while this is happening. Thank you.
Sure thing.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, board.
Okay.
Have a good evening.
We'd like to take at this moment, while we get our Ann Brockelman back on staff here, a 5-minute break for everybody. Make a motion that we take a 5-minute break. Yes, do we have to vote on that?
Madam Chair, I make a motion for us to take a break until 7:15.
15. Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Brian Cook,
Aye.
Susan Fontano, aye. Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
Cece Dagling.
Aye.
Okay, see you back. Staff's gonna get a hold of, Ann Brockelman.
This is Andrew speaking, Madam Chair. I just got in touch with Ann and she is now going to come back into the meeting.
Thank you. Hi, just a quick update. I don't have my second. Okay, yeah, thanks. Ann Fullerton,
Yes, ma'am.
good job. Thank you. Excellente. Even your questions as an architect, very good, thank you. Welcome, Ann. What I was trying to say, and I just told Ann Brockelman, I don't have my second screen tonight, so I didn't have my criteria written out in front of me like I like to read it and add to it. That's what I was trying to tell you guys. So I apologize. Okay, staff. There, Steve, we're ready to go back on.
Sure.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to call the meeting back to order.
Thank you, Ann Fullerton.
Second.
Seconded by Ann Brockelman. All in favor, please say aye. Brian Cook,
Aye.
Lucia Daglian,
Aye.
Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
Ursula Souza Fontano, aye, and Ann Brockelman.
Aye.
Thank you. The next thing on our agenda is 23 Oak Street. It's a new case. Ann Fullerton, could you open that for us, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. I would like to open the case for 23 Oak Street, case number ZP 24000076. Mixed Design and Development seeks zoning relief from the rear yard setback for a rear addition in the NR district, which requires a hardship variance.
Thank you. Staff, who's covering this case tonight?
This is Steve Carey in the planning division. This is my case.
Okay, Steve. So is your people ready to come back on?
This is Andrew speaking. If you are an applicant, please use the raise hand feature. I see a Robert Anastasio and a Damon Sidell. Steve, can you confirm that those are the applicants?
Yes, I know Damon Seidel. I believe he was the architect or engineer on the case. And maybe he can confirm that Robert Anastasio is also part of the team.
Got it. Mr. Sidell, could you confirm?
Yes, hello, I'm Damon Seidel. I am the architect, Mixed Design and Development. And
Thank you very much.
and Robert Anastasio goes by Julius, and Julius is one of the owners that I've been working with on this.
I am promoting Julius to panelist.
Thank you, Andrew. So who's going to speak tonight to start?
I'll start. I introduced myself, Damon Seidel of Mixed Design and Development. Been working with Julius and his wife, Elena, to design a rear addition. And I'd like to invite Julius to say a quick hello and introduce himself and tell us about why they undertook this.
Welcome.
Thank you. Can you all hear me all right?
Yes, we can.
So good evening to the board. Thank you for having me. I live with my family at 23 Oak Street. We moved to Somerville almost 20 years ago, started a family, have built a community here. My wife and I both work from home, and we have 2 young children who currently share a room so that we can both have offices. So we really want to stay within the city, where we've built this community, let our kids continue to go to the Argenziano. And we feel that we need just a little extra space to be able to, as our family begins to grow.
Great, thank you. And Mr. Seidel, you want to tell us what we're going to do?
Yeah, let me show you what we've designed and walk you through what we're requesting. Can you all see the drawings?
Yes.
Great. Let me zoom in here. So the White House in the middle of the photograph there is 23 Oak Street, Julius and Elena's house. As you can see, it's a pretty compact house and it's on a very compact site. We're proposing to add a 2-story rear addition that is the width of the house and goes back. I will switch over to the proposed site plan here. Do you still see that?
Yes.
Great. Just making sure that everything's working as we suggest. So currently the house is on a lot, and will continue to be on a lot that's 29 feet wide and 63 feet deep, both of which are non-conforming to the lot minimum and the lot depth. And the rear, we're seeking a variance to build the rear addition and reduce the setback from 23.8 to 10.7 feet. That includes a small deck in order to walk out of the kitchen, which I'll show you the plans in a moment. Of note, I think, is on the parcel map, you can see how it's misnumbered. This is 23 here. It should, and you can see next to it is 25, 27. So it's number 23 is the small plot 37. There was a right of way added back a while ago to rear lots. So assuming that this was chopped up at some point to give access to the back lots there. And I think that it's, so let me just walk you through the plans very briefly. It's a pretty simple, straightforward situation here. Actually, I'll just jump to the proposed because you can see the existing in that just well enough. So here you see the front steps a little mudroom. You enter in and the living room's in the front. And currently a eat-in kitchen is in the back. And we're proposing adding a little over 9 feet, 9'4", to make it so that there is full kitchen and dining room with a couple of with a sliding door and some windows out onto the small deck to get down to the backyard space. On the second floor, what this looks like is when you come up, previously there was just one bedroom in the back, and it was a Jack and Jill bathroom. You could walk through the bathroom to get to from the front bedroom to the rear bedroom. And we're proposing putting a hallway in, a 3-foot hallway, keeping it nice and small, kind of almost a bare minimum office space, and then a bedroom in the back that's basically the same size as it had been. So we're adding the 9 feet to fit the hallway in the office and give access to the bathroom for both bedrooms still, and have a private office there. So in doing that on the third floor, which isn't pictured because we're not doing any work on it, the 2 bedrooms on the third floor are currently being used as offices. So that'll allow them to use 1 bedroom for one of their kids on the third floor. 1 bedroom will remain in the front there for their other kid, and then they'll have a bedroom. So 3 bedrooms, 2 offices instead of 2 bedrooms, 2 offices. And I think I'm happy to describe any more of the design, but I think that it's as simple as that. So we're seeking, it's the rear setback that we're violating in order to build this 9'4" addition.
Great. Thank you very much. Is there anyone here from the public that would like to have questions for the applicant?
If I may, I should note that the applicants submitted multiple letters of support. Many of them are quite glowing, which I think is fun to read for myself when I ask my clients to get some letters of support and see what feedback they can get. And all of these were, I think there's 6 of them. And they were all just like, these guys are great. Go for it.
So. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Again, Mr. Graminsky, is there anybody from the public that would like to weigh in on this project?
This is Andrew speaking, Chair Fontano. I'm not seeing anyone with their hand raised at this time.
Okay, so we'll close the public portion and go with the board right away. Anybody have something to say? Any questions of the applicant or the builder? Could you clear your board for us, please, the screen? Thank you. Ian Brockelman, question.
Question, and then I can tell you what I think. For staff, the proposed bulkhead, does that count that's allowed, right, within the setback? The new bulkhead?
Yep, that was something that was discussed with ISD, and a bulkhead, I think there's a certain allowance for a bulkhead to encroach.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure it sounds very modest. In fact, I think experientially it's more modest than the numbers on paper, because it's a 20-foot setback requirement, and technically they're 9 + 4, 13. They're going 13 in with only 10 left, but 4 feet of that is a deck. So it does count, within the setback, but experientially that's not building mass at all. So that, to me, that's experientially doesn't really impact the building massing, and they are very small and hemmed in. All their neighbors are large buildings, much larger, and they go way back.
Yeah.
Your lot. So do appreciate a modest ask, but it looks, it's cute, and it looks like it'll work really well. So I have no issues with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Anybody else want to express their feelings or comments? No. Brian Cook.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to point out that the staff memo is very helpful so that when we compile the response to the conditions we must
Yes.
meet, the language is pretty much there for us. It would actually be nice going to the future, not just to rely on staff, but to rely on all applicants for hardship variances to do a more complete job of trying to address these criteria. Otherwise, we're often struggling to patch together language. But in this case, we have the advantage of our crack planning and zoning staff, which provided us with most of the language that we need.
Great. Thank you, Brian. Anyone else? We ready to go forward with a vote tonight? Beautiful. All right, acting clerk, in the matter of 23 Oak Street, would you like to make a motion for us, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. In the matter of 23 Oak Street, case number ZP 24000076, I move for us to approve the hardship variance for rear yard setback based on criteria noted within the staff memo, but explicitly stating undersized depth of the lot, the fact that the family has by far outgrown their home and needs another bedroom, and that we do not think that it is going to degrade the neighborhood at all.
Perfect.
Second.
Thank you. Seconded by, that was Ann Brockelman. Thank you. All in favor, please say aye. Where are we? Well, we're all gonna vote. Okay. Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
Ann Brockelman,
Aye.
Cecilia Daglian,
Aye.
Brian Cook,
Aye.
and Susan Fontana. Aye. Let the record show that 5 members all voted in the affirmative, and we wish you well. Thank you,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank
Very
you
nice.
so much.
Nice and neat presentation.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And next is 483 Broadway. I believe our staff person on this case tonight is Sarah White.
Good evening,
And-
Madam Chair again.
Yes, and could I ask Ann Fullerton to please open this case?
Yes, Madam Chair. There are 4 hardship variances that I'm going to read separately for this case.
Thank you.
In the matter of 483 Broadway, case number ZP 24000051, Babbitt Design seeks zoning relief from the 12-foot curb setback requirement in the MR4 district, which requires a hardship variance. In the matter of 483 Broadway, case number ZP 24000052, Babbitt Design seeks zoning relief from the 30-foot commercial setback depth requirement in the MR4 district, which requires a hardship variance. In the matter of 483 Broadway, case number ZP 24000066, Babbitt Design seeks zoning relief from the 12-foot sidewalk requirement in the MR4 district, which requires a hardship variance. And finally, in the matter of 483 Broadway, case number ZP 24000067, Babbitt Design seeks zoning relief from the minimum 2-foot front setback requirement in the MR4 district, which requires a hardship variance.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. Sarah White, you have some people you wanna, we're ready to rock and roll. Mr. Babbitt is, Mr. Babbitt. See, I saw the T with the Babbitt. I got it mixed up there. Great. Thank you.
Happy-
Welcome. So you're
Good
gonna
to see
tell
you
us what you're
again,
gonna do?
Madam
Yeah,
Chair
I know.
Fontana.
Jeez.
Hope you had a good summer.
Gonna be old neighbors here. I know it.
I know.
I'm gonna get Christmas cards from you soon, I think. No, nice to see you all again. Thank you. I don't know if everyone's familiar with the project. So I'll just briefly go through the particular items that we're concerned about and just a general on the overall real quick. So let me share my screen here. So this is the architectural set showing the exterior view. So on the left here, we see the existing building, which many are familiar with in its current state. And this is the proposed building that we have that we would like to move forward with. And it's a continuation of the existing footprint essentially towards Broadway, and would be obviously extending into Somerville. Our current design from the site here, we can see extends into Somerville only on the front section by approximately 14 feet on one side and 10 feet on the other. It's really like 9 foot something. The rest of it is all in Medford. So currently, the items up before us have to do with the site and setbacks. So let me just stop that share and I'll share the site information that we're discussing at the moment. So currently, our footprint is an extension of the existing building along Strathmore, which is right on the setback, and that's allowable. But once we get into Somerville, we have various conditions that need to be met. We meet all the requirements on Broadway, but Strathmore has similar requirements for a 12-foot walkway and also a setback from the curb. We are currently 6'4" with the building from the curb edge. So therefore, what the requirement would be for two, which are basically the same, is that a 6 by 10 square of this building would need to be removed at this corner in order to meet the 12-foot curb that's required on streets and roadways. The other item has to do with a setback for a building, which would require 2 feet to be removed from the building. So those are the two impacts on the actual building that would be a result of meeting the current requirements. And lastly is a depth on the commercial space, which we do have. However, we don't have it in Somerville. And so therefore we need relief on that part of it. Obviously that last one, the 30-foot commercial space depth, is impossible for us to meet based on where our lot is located. And so we feel that that's a pretty strong case that we meet the requirements of not being able to satisfy those in any way. And it is a hardship for us to meet that. So on the other two items, we have the setback here. As you can see, we have a relatively small commercial space in here for the owner, the applicant here, for his liquor store business, and a relatively small footprint for a retail space that he would rent as additional income to support the property. Removing that corner would be a very impactful loss for the footprint. Is also, as we see it, I'm going to stop sharing and go to the architectural plans again. We see it as a big problem for the building itself and how that would look visibly. As you can imagine, taking a 6-foot chunk out of this building here would impact the visibility, the view, the symmetry that we'd like to maintain, because we feel it's a much more appealing building. And so removing this front section here beyond the red line by 2 or even 6 feet would drastically impact the look of the building. But not only that, we had to look at the benefits. And so we understand that the zoning has its benefits, and sidewalk clearances as well are important. However, in the description for the character of mid-rise MR4, it says buildings are set close to the sidewalk to create a defined street wall that supports pedestrian activity and a sense of place. And so this district is primarily commercial with ground store uses that typically address the needs of residents and employees in the immediate neighborhood. So as it stands now, this side wall is straight all along Strathmore, along with many of the other buildings and houses on Strathmore. And if we were to remove any part of this corner, as you can see it, it doesn't really help the flow at all. We have our sign here, which is already been approved and has been renovated for the project. If we look at where that would impact the walkway, taking that 6 foot or even 2 foot section out really doesn't help anyone with access. In fact, a straight wall is better for people coming down the road and coming around the corner, as opposed to taking out that corner. And then you can see here the impact it would have on the usable space for the retail part of that. So that's our thought on the matter. Hopefully you'll see the same benefit of leaving the structure in the shape it's in currently, which is a nice symmetrical building that is appealing and that the neighbors certainly seem to like, certainly much better than what's there now. So I'm happy to answer any questions, and I know the owner, John Wood, is on as well, and he's happy to answer questions.
Thank
about
you.
what we have.
Great, thank you. Let's open it up to the public. Mr. Graminsky, do we have anybody with their hands up?
This is Andrew speaking. At this time, I'm not seeing anyone with their hands up.
Okay, so we'll close that and move on to the board. You just have some questions and comments you'd like to make? No? Okay.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Brian Cook. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've thought quite a bit about the sidewalk clearance requirement, as well as the curb setback. And I did a little digging into the zoning ordinance with regard to sidewalk width and the requirements. It varies from 6 feet wide for the neighborhood and urban residence zones to 12 feet for the MR zones and to 16 or 18 feet for the high-rise zones. Frankly, I'm mostly a walker, and all throughout the city, those zoning requirements are violated in various ways, including by the city itself. In reconstructing sidewalks in neighborhood areas, the sidewalks are not 6 feet wide. And if you want to accommodate all kinds of important, both aesthetic and infrastructural improvements, such as green infrastructure, trees, whatever, you're going to have impacts on sidewalk clearance. And it's my impression, at least with regard to these two variances, that they're minimal, and in fact won't have much of an impact on sidewalk flow, although the city wishes to see many, many people out on the sidewalks visiting businesses. We don't get large crowds who jam up sidewalks very often, maybe on Somerville Avenue. So I don't find anything worrisome about the requests at least for those two variances. The other two, I think, are already supported by other information and the criteria.
Hey, Brian. Anyone else want to comment? Ann Fullerton, Ann Brockelman, excuse me.
I'm in agreement with Brian. I think because the Somerville side is such a small sliver, 20% of the building mass, which is already zero lot line, I don't see how jogging it would really make a big difference. I do see that the hydrant, the building would come quite close to that hydrant on the corner, and the fire department's okay with that, Mr. Babbitt? or they're aware of that. I don't think I've seen a hydrant that close to a wall.
So that would be something that will be reviewed, I think, with the planning department and mobility even, maybe. Is that right, Sarah?
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you, and Tavis, thanks for that, and Anne for the question, Ms. Rockelman. Yeah, so it actually wouldn't end up being the planning department that would review it, but it would be fire and fire safety, that when you apply for a building permit, they would, you know, definitely be taking a look at its proximity. When you do apply for your site plan approval, there, you know, certainly mobility will be taking a look at things, again, from the sidewalks to the proximity of the building to certain things. But yeah, fire safety will definitely be looking at the hydrant.
Okay.
Right.
And
Yes,
just
Ann?
out of curiosity, I do remember this project.
Mhm.
The design hadn't changed, right? So is the project team, is it just being recognized now, later on, that there are these other variances that needed to be addressed?
Yeah.
Yes, after ISD reviewed the set, we came up with the ones that we still needed apparently. So
Okay, I was
yes,
just
there were
trying to
other things.
remember
There
if
were
it,
some
if it
changes
was
actually made to the roof. We added, you know, more green space up there. So we have a green roof actually over that area. So removing that would actually impact our green space that we have proposed. So that's another reason we wouldn't want to remove that space if we didn't have to.
That's nice to hear. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I mean, I don't have any issue with it. I think this is one of the cases where literal enforcement or literal compliance with the setback lines would result in a less simple, more costly building. I know you're trying to get your structure, you know, logical and repetitive and not have jogs and ins and outs. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Anybody else? Nope. Great. Yeah, we've seen this project here for a while now, and I agree with the points that Brian brought out in Ian. I agree wholeheartedly. And I'm glad this didn't turn out to be an issue, because it's been quite an eyesore for a long time. And it's about time we clean up that area. You know, Broadway's our thoroughfare, Somerville Ave, you know, Washington. We gotta start cleaning them up and attracting people and the neighbors behind them to be proud of their neighborhood. So thank you. Ann Fullerton, would you please make a motion for approval on 483 Broadway?
Yes, Madam Chair. For 483 Broadway, case number ZP 24000051 regarding zoning relief for the 12-foot curb setback. I make a motion to approve the hardship variance based on the criteria discussed regarding site size in Somerville, conflict with other site components for criteria 2, and no degradation of the neighborhood.
Right.
Second.
Seconded by Ann Brockelman. All in favor, please say aye. You approve? Ann Fullerton?
Aye.
Susan Fontano, aye. Ann Brockelman?
Aye.
Cecilia Daglian?
Aye.
And Brian Cook?
Aye.
Beautiful. Let the record show, in the matter of 000051, all voted in the affirmative. Next, please.
Yes, Madam Chair. In the case of 483 Broadway, case number ZP 24000052, I make a motion to approve zoning relief from the 30-foot commercial space depth requirement based on criteria discussed regarding site size in Somerville. Removal of square footage would impact the green roof and green score, and no degradation to the neighborhood.
Seconded,
Second,
seconded by Brian Cook. All in favor, please say aye. Ann Brockelman,
Aye.
Brian Cook,
aye.
Cece Deglian,
Aye.
Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
and Susan Fontano, aye. Let the record show. In the matter of, oh, I flipped my page, sorry. 00005 we all, 5 voting members on the affirmative passed unanimously. Next,
Yes, Madam Chair. In the case of 483 Broadway, case number ZP 24000066, I make a motion to approve the hardship variance requesting zoning relief from the 12-foot sidewalk requirement based on criteria discussed, including site size in Somerville. Reduction of the footprint would change the green roof and green score, and seeing no degradation to the neighborhood.
Second.
seconded by Ann Brockelman. All in favor, please vote in the affirmative. Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
Susan Fontano, aye. Ann Brockelman,
Aye.
Cece Deglian,
Aye.
and Brian Cook.
Aye.
Let the record show all 5 voting members voted in the affirmative to carry on ZP 24000066. And finally,
In the matter of 483 Broadway, case number ZP 24000067, I make a motion to approve zoning relief, or excuse me, to approve the hardship variance requesting zoning relief from the minimum 2-foot front setback requirement based on criterion discussed, including site size in Somerville, conflict with site components like a site sign, and there being no degradation to the neighborhood.
thank
Second.
you. Seconded by Ann Brockelman. All in favor of the approval, please say aye. Cece Deglian,
Aye.
Brian Cook,
Aye.
Ann Brockelman,
Aye.
Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
and Susan Fontano, aye. Let the record show all 5 voting members voted the affirmative to carry the hardship variance. Well, here you go again. Good luck.
Well, as much as I like you guys, I hope I don't see you anytime.
All right. Have a good
But
night.
thank you all
Good
for your
luck with the
support.
project. Okay,
Thank
thank you.
you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
I believe that's all we have. Is there any other business? It's not on the agenda that anybody would like to address? No? Okay. So, good job, everybody. Good job, Ann Fullerton. Brian, thanks for your comments. Everybody's participating. I appreciate it. And if we could have a motion to adjourn? See, you thought I was gonna forget. You all thought I was gonna forget again, huh? I'm on tonight. Motion to adjourn, please.
Yes, Madam Chair. I make a motion to adjourn the zoning board of appeals meeting.
Second.
Seconded by Ann Brockelman. All in favor, please say aye. Brian Cook,
Aye.
Cece Deglian,
Aye.
Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
Ann Brockelman,
Aye.
and Susan Fontano, aye. And let the record show, it is 7:51. Good job, everybody. Lot covered. Thank you very much and have a good night and a good rest of the week.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, staff.
Bye.
Bye-bye,
Bye.
everybody.